1209年，一批从牛津流亡的知识分子沿剑河北上，落脚于英格兰东部一片潮湿平坦的沼泽地。他们租借旅社、教堂与民宅，搭建简易讲坛，点亮了中世纪欧洲一盏耀眼的学术明灯——剑桥大学。此后800年，牛顿在苹果树下顿悟万有引力，霍金在黑板上推演宇宙起源，125位诺奖得主让剑桥把世界科学史折叠进一座小城。今天，剑桥周边被称为硅沼，20多座科技园，5000多家高科技企业与苹果、华为、微软、阿斯利康等世界500强研发中心并肩而立，也为中国企业家出海、加速全球化布局开辟了新航道。今天，我将对话剑桥大学高级研究员、剑桥大学可持续发展领导力研究院教学院长Emre教授，和他一起走进欧洲硅谷，英国剑桥。
Since the Nobel Prize began being awarded, we have over 100 Nobel Prize winners just at our university. And that sort of speaks to the creativity that comes through our university. Try to communicate the innovation that is coming out of our classrooms, coming out of laboratories, to talk to the industry. Of course, with the investors as a conduit in between. Now, for Chinese entrepreneurs, of course, as you can imagine, that ecosystem is extremely international. There are a lot of Chinese startups as well. Inevitably, they work in international environment, and there's a lot of collaboration that comes with it, whether that's in biomedical, whether that's in AI, or in other area. And I think that's the unique part of Cambridge, where you get not just different sectors, but also different ideas and different people. And I think that's the success.
Why is Cambridge known as the European Silicon Valley? Could you please briefly introduce the University of Cambridge and the Cambridge phenomenon?
Of course. University of Cambridge is one of the ancient universities that's been founded in 1209. It's beginning of 13th century. And as you can imagine, with long history like that, there will be a lot of room for creating new knowledge and innovation. Since the Nobel Prize began being awarded, we have over 100 Nobel Prize winners just at our university. And that sort of speaks to the creativity that comes through our university. And we call it Silicon Fen, so it's slightly different than Silicon Valley. And that's partly because the geography around University of Cambridge was marshlands, and it's what we call fen over there. So it's Silicon Fen. And that sort of refers to with Cambridge phenomenon, which is the collaboration between the university and startups and industry, and being able to commercialize the innovation that comes through the university.
You speak very well indeed. And my next question is, what unique advantages and practical experiences does Cambridge, including the University of Cambridge, have in promoting the integration of sustainable development and technological innovation? How do you think this integration is important for the future of global technological development?
Well, thank you very much. And also, I'd like to thank for emphasizing that there's both innovation happening in Cambridge as well as University of Cambridge. There's a lot of collaboration between what is happening privately within the city of Cambridge, but there's also a lot of innovation at the university. So I'm glad that we can differentiate those two. Within sustainable development, of course, there's a lot of research that goes into both technology side. So some of my colleagues recently, about last year, they came up with a floating leaf, for example, that uses solar energy to be able to turn energy into energy, right? But not into battery power. That's an incredible innovation in itself. We have a lot of colleagues who are working on AI and climate change space. There's a lot of innovation that's coming in that world, but that's not just technology. We also have innovation that is coming in social side. So we have a lot of economists that are working in this space. We have a lot of policy decision makers. And that's the other beautiful thing about the Cambridge ecosystem, if you will. It's not just the university's ecosystem, but it's also the whole city's ecosystem, where private innovation and technology works together with us. In one of the institutes within the university, called Cambridge Institute for Sustainability Leadership. There is an incubator for startups that are in sustainability space. And that sustainability space that brings the startups to be able to flourish, both in communication with the academia, but also with the investors. And that, I think, is one of the unique aspects what make Cambridge a promising place for the future development of sustainability.
How does Cambridge attract top global talent? Through its education system, research environment, and industrial ecosystem. What unique attractions and opportunities does Cambridge offer to Chinese entrepreneurs and startups?
I'll start with the education system and I'll go from broad from there. So the way in which I think Cambridge University attracts top global talent as a student and to build themselves starts off with the idea that Cambridge does not look for degree collectors, but Cambridge looks for creative future leaders. So it provides an environment for people to flourish. And for people to flourish, they need to cross-fertilize ideas. So we don't look at single discipline, but we encourage people to work cross-disciplines. And that's how the new ideas emerge. So within the education ecosystem, that's how we tackle it. When you look at the broader system, then we try to make sure that there is a communication, two-way communication. So we get, in a lot of our programs, we get a lot of industry professionals to come and talk to our students. And vice versa, we try to communicate the innovation that is coming out of our classrooms, coming out of laboratories, to talk to the industry. Of course, with the investors as a conduit in between. So I think that ecosystem that develops in an organic way, and that organic development sort of flourishes over time. Now, it attracts the researchers outside of the university to the region, partly because of its position as a Silicon fan. There are a lot of new research institutes that has been set up. I think there's over 5,000 companies that are within the Cambridge ecosystem. And that, it snowballs when researchers come in to be able to improve their innovative ideas, talk to the investors, talk to the academic environment to be able to know what works and what doesn't. And I think that in of itself is the recipe for success. Now, for Chinese entrepreneurs, of course, as you can imagine, that ecosystem is extremely international. There are a lot of Chinese startups as well. Inevitably, they work in international environment, and there's a lot of collaboration that comes with it, whether that's in biomedical, whether that's in AI, or in other area. And I think that's the unique part of Cambridge, where you get not just different sectors, but also different ideas and different people. And I think that's the success.
Just as you said, Cambridge has formed a community innovation train from university laboratories to mature enterprises. Then, in this ecosystem, as a key link, how do venture capital institutions affect the innovation atmosphere and enterprise development in Cambridge?
The university, of course, has its own way of doing things. So we have what we call Cambridge Enterprise that takes the innovation from laboratory and commercializes it. And that's a very important link to be able to do it. And that's done in-house within the university. But of course, none of that would be possible without venture capital investment. Cambridge ecosystem has specialized venture capitalists that are in residence within the city. And they have a very good understanding of appreciating failure, because with venture capital, with innovation, for startups, you have to fail, and you have to fail fast before you can improve and scale. And venture capitalists understand that. So there's that bridge is quite important. And Cambridge is lucky enough to have specialists that can enable that.